the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
Thomas Engesser, he's a show producer, and one of his shows is Deacon Patrick Connolly's The Inner Life. It's great to be with you, Thomas.
Hey, it's good to be with you too.
Let's talk a little bit about how you wound up here, and not like at this instant, although I'm very glad you have wound up here at this instant. But how did you wind up at Relevant Radio?
Yeah, so that's a wild story. And like any good story, it starts with a woman. And this
well
woman,
played, my friend.
Right? So this woman happens to be my mom. So it was a few years ago, many years ago at this point. And my mom, like one day we were talking and she was like, you should look into Relevant Radio as a job. And I looked at her and I was like, what's Relevant Radio? I had no idea.
Yeah, usually it comes from the women. Yeah.
Right? So that was that. And then a few months later, my priest, we were just at like this local gathering. My priest was talking with us as a family, and he looks like straight at me, and he's like, "You should be in radio. Like you'd be great in radio."
This was roughly how long ago?
Oh, this was maybe 6 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, something like that.
Yep.
And I looked at him like, "That's weird, but okay. I don't know."
You think your mom had whispered to the priest, or like? And if she did, it's still equally valid.
What she
because
probably
if he
did
repeats
was,
it probably even more.
Right? Well, what she probably did was she whispered to God, and then God whispered back to the priest.
Fair enough.
That third-party communication. But yeah, anyway, so then a few months after that, and that's the thing with God I find is, like God doesn't really care about time as much as he cares about memory. Like if you remember something, it might have happened years ago. But if you remember that, like and it connects with something else, it's like, whoa, right?
Yes.
So a few months after that, and I remember all this. My priest was like talking with me, and he was like, you should meet Father Rocky. And I'm like, who's Father Rocky?
These signs.
So, no idea,
reading the
right?
signs.
But then I saw that Father Rocky was giving a talk in Minneapolis, St. Paul, at a parish called St. Joseph's Parish. And I've got a massive devotion to St. Joseph. Today's, Wednesday, so good thing we're talking about this now.
Yeah. And just for all of you listening, like we just schedule folks based on a variety of factors. We had no intentionality around Wednesday with you, but here we are.
It's like such a God moment. And there's so many God moments. Like if you just look at your life, they're all over the place. But anyway, so I saw that Father Rocky, who I had no idea who he was giving a talk at St. Joseph's near me. It was like a 40-minute drive. I was like, okay, I got to go hear this talk. So I go over, and he does the Family Rosary Across America, right? So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then he gave this talk on St. Joseph, and I was like, this guy's an amazing speaker. Like I don't know who this guy is, but he can talk. Like he is good. So I was really impressed by him. And then after the talk, I was like, oh, I got to say hi. So I stand up to go say hi to him. And this line just like builds up behind him. It goes out the door of the church. And I'm like, what?
So you blew off Father Rocky is what you're saying?
No, I did not. I sat in the pew, like in the back, just waiting. Because I was like, all these people are wanting to like take his photo, shake his hand. But like, I don't want to just do that. Like I want to, ask for a job, basically. So I waited, and it took like an hour and a half, 2 hours for the line to finally dissipate. And I stood up. And he saw me.
2 hours. You hung around.
It was a long wait.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not sure when we can see this guy again.
Yeah.
So I go up to him, and he sees me. He's like, hi, yeah, you're standing there for a while. Like, how can I help you? And I'm just like, Father, I'm going to be graduating college soon. Could I have a job at Relevant Radio? And again,
did you think at the time that this sheer sort of evidence of you hanging around the hoop so long would have kind of bearing in his mind, or
not really.
There was no sort of calculation going on your part. You're just waiting for Father Rocky.
Yeah, I was just waiting because I was like, it would be rude for me to ask for a job while he's trying to talk with all these other people, right?
Beautiful.
So I was like, I'll wait, and if he has time at the end, then I'll come up and ask him. So that's why I waited. But I guess in like hindsight, it was like, okay, Holy Spirit driven. Like,
sure,
it probably made an impression on him.
Yeah.
And anyway, he gave me his business card and was like, send me your resume. We'll see. So I was like, sweet. Send the resume in. And I hear back from them being like, we don't have any position open. And I'm like, okay, that's all right. That's just, I gave it my best shot.
You gave it more than a college try, but yep.
I did it, right? So then I'm working this part-time job, finishing up college, and living with my brother. I get to the kind of end of my college time, and I ask my company, I'm like, hey, do you guys have full-time work for me? Because I really like the job I'm doing. I was working as a ninja warrior at the time, helping little kids do ninja warrior obstacles, if you know what that is. But anyway, it was a great job. And they were like, no, we don't have anything full-time. And I was like, shoot. And around that time also, my brother was getting married. And I was like, I do not want to be living with him after the honeymoon. Like, I want to be out of there.
Yep.
So I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, God. And literally it was a week after the company I was with the Ninja Warrior, said that I couldn't work full-time with them. I got an email, and this is like months after talking with Father Rocky, from Relevant Radio, being like, are you interested in a phone interview?
And this is about 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah, it's about 4 years ago. Yeah, maybe just a little over 4 years ago.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, I'm interested in an interview. So do the interview, and then I get flown out to Chicago for an in-person interview.
And if I remember, this was no one in your family had this kind of treatment in a job.
I felt so much like that.
So they call you Royal Thomas in your family too. Yeah,
King Thomas I prefer, but
yeah.
No.
So you got flown out. Yep.
Got flown out. I told my mom, like, Mom, I'm going out. Yeah, it was great. It was amazing. And it was just such a great experience. Yeah. Like Relevant Radio is like an amazing company, right? And the fact that they do this for people who they're, looking
So
to
they made
hire.
you an offer and you accepted it, I take it.
They did. Yeah. They like, I thought I totally bombed the interview, but afterwards they made me the offer and I was like, let's do it. So then I started working at Relevant Radio on March 16th, 2022.
Your devotion to St. Joseph and your affection for Father Rocky, it didn't come from producing shows. Your devotion to St. Joseph came through a relationship.
Yes.
Well, I won't tease it more than that. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So another great story also starts with a woman. This one's not my mom. I met this girl back in 2020, right?
And by the way, Thomas has got this consecration to St. Joseph all tattered in front of him. But keep going.
I've got my book of consecration to St. Joseph, which plays a part in the story.
Yeah, but go ahead. You were saying. I don't mean to take you off course.
You're good. This is good. This is great. It's a great teaser, right? So, I got this book, which I love, Consecration to Saint Joseph. I recommend people get it if they haven't made a consecration. Saint Joseph's amazing, and I met this girl in 2020 who was great. I just like totally fell for her, right? And she had this devotion to this guy named Saint Joseph. And I was like, oh, who's this guy, right? Like I knew about St. Joseph just through like the Bible passages, but that was about it. And she was telling me about him and just her devotion. I was like, this guy's really interesting, but I don't know, it didn't like click, right? I was just like, this guy's interesting. And then one night we were on a date and I realized that like I couldn't keep dating her because of some like chastity issues in my own life and like purity and sins of the flesh, things like that. And I was just, it was really tough conversation. But I told her, I was like we can't be dating, right? And she was on board with that, and she's like, okay, right. And on my way back from that drive, I was really shook up. I was just like, God, like I don't know, like if you can hear me, like let me know. And as soon as I said those words, like literally as soon as the words left my mouth, the billboard, which is a digital billboard I was driving by, switched to the words, Jesus, I trust in you, and a divine mercy image. And I was like, what? It just
He could hear you
through. Yeah, I was like, okay, God, like I trust in Jesus. That's the goal, right? But like then it's like, how, right?
Well, then what happened like after that?
And so as soon as I got home, I had this like, it was unexplainable, burning desire to get to know St. Joseph. And like, I don't know exactly how to describe it except from the passage from the road to Emmaus when they were like, you remember how our hearts were on fire when he was telling? And it was like, my heart was on fire. And I was like, I got to know about this guy named St. Joseph. And I started looking up online, like, okay, any books about him? Well, I found a book cover that said Consecration to St. Joseph. And I was like, oh, this is the book. And like, I got to get this book. And I remembered at that moment, my mom had picked me up this book a year before I met this girl, right? And I just took the book and threw it off to the side, whatever. Didn't even think about it. Sorry, Mom. I'm trying to be better. But and I was like,
sounds like you're doing great.
Well, praise God. And I was like, oh, I know this book. I have this book. So I reach through, I dig it out, and I pick it up, and I start doing this consecration of St. Joseph. And literally that night, so I've been struggling with purity, chastity for like many, many years, right? Like since I was just a little kid.
Common for
it's probably
men.
since like 12 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that night, it was like St. Joseph threw his cloak over me and just protected me from all temptation. It was like the most surreal thing ever. And I didn't have any temptation towards the sins of the flesh for like 9 months straight, where I was just like, this is not me. Like, there's no way this is me that's doing this. And it was such a like powerful thing in my life.
You got kind of a double affirmation. I mean, he gave you the protection you were seeking as an intercessor, and you got the confirmation that he's there with you.
Yes. Yeah. He acted. You know, I feel like there's two ways that God works. I don't know. He works through ordinary means and extraordinary means, and not one is better than the other. Extraordinary is extraordinary. So it's more than what normally is happening. And St. Joseph's intercession, that was an extraordinary means that God like worked through me. But he had to then keep working through me.
Yeah, because now I'm interested in the 9 months, 9 months in a day, so to speak.
Yes.
So I'll ask it this way. What do you want to say about 9 months in a day, or 9 months plus, if you will? And men are listening to this, women are listening to this conversation. And what would be your advice about living chastity?
Yeah, so my big advice is, first off, go to St. Joseph, right? That's something that's mentioned in the Old Testament when the people of Egypt are starving and the Pharaoh says, go to Joseph, right? And I recommend that.
Joseph.
Yes, exactly. You know more, what is that, Greek, Latin?
I think it's Egyptian, actually.
Egyptian, there you go.
But back to you. Let's stay with you,
let's
Thomas.
Stay on this. So go to St. Joseph, ask his intercession, right? He's a powerful intercessor, patron. Have him take you under his wing. And then the other thing, there's another thing I'd mention. Go to confession, because if you are trying to root out a sin, especially sins of the flesh, sins that have to do with chastity and stuff, it more like has a big grip on you. And you need to be constantly hitting the confessional. I remember one day I had gone to confession, and it was literally the next day that I had fallen back into the same sin. And I was like, I got to go to confession again. So I literally went to the confession. I was like, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 1 day since my last confession. And it broke my heart. Like, I was like shattered by saying that.
Yeah.
So go to confession.
But what happened on the other side of that?
On the other side, the graces, the mercy was so healing.
Yeah.
And it just it was like little steps at a time, right? Yeah. So after those 9 months, like I said, we had to, I had to, I guess, work for myself a little bit more, right? And I could get more into that later on. But yeah, confession and St. Joseph, huge things for growing in chastity.
Well, there's so much more here, Thomas. I think to wrap us up, the one way to do that would be to bring this into, speak to the men who are in a relationship with a woman that they, they're courting a woman, and like men and women, it's like we're made with hormones. What would you say to that man, to that woman, that you haven't said already, or what would you underscore that you've said already?
Yeah, so if a man's working towards chastity and he's doing a good job battling, doing the good fight, and he's dating somebody, I think he's really got to be a man and take the initiative in looking out for his woman's, his girlfriend's purity, right?
Yeah.
And even if she's like down with something, he needs to know his own limits.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we can't do this to protect you, to protect me, right? So he needs to take that step. Yeah. And that's going to make the relationship so much better.
That was the Best of the Week on Relevant Radio. The best way to listen to the Best of the Week is on the Relevant Radio app. Free and always free. Download and share the #1 free Catholic app today in the App Store.